Welcome to Mindset Driven. I am one of the founders here for Mindset Driven. My name is Aaron Quiroz. You can call me Aaron. I go by Sergeant Wobble on the internet throughout various platforms. Might be changing that back to just Aaron Quiroz. Um, but I'm here to tell you a little bit about my life story. Um, let's just start from the beginning. You know, when I was a young kid, 1 years old, um, I ended up having to have three blood transfusions at Stanford Hospital because my kidneys wouldn't stop bleeding. Thankful that I'm here. God has a plan for me. And, um, you know, as I get older and I talk to my family about it, the ones that are still here, and ask them about the situation, I learned more and more like, well, no, you were touch and go. It wasn't like you were just okay and you needed blood transfusions. I was like, wow, um, I'm very blessed to be here. Um, Fast forward a couple years, my mother gets ill mentally. Um, so from 5 to 7, I was in a shelter all throughout California, different places. I couldn't even tell you them all. But I do remember a lot of it. And, that I struggle with that, in that essence, you can call that a form of its own PTSD. Um, and after that, my grandparents took over. Now, when my grandparents took over, my mother and dad weren't in my life pretty much. I mean, they were alive, but they were never there in my life. Let's put it that way. They showed up on the days they had to, graduations and stuff like that, even though I didn't graduate really eighth grade, you know. Um, and after all the things that happened to my mom, I got made fun of a lot in school because I had a hard time reading. I just didn't have my mind focused on school because I was always, thinking about my mom and the things she was going through, and it was just a tough situation for me to handle. Um, Fast forward now, like I said, grandparents take over. I live with them until I turn 18 technically, but I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17 via paperwork. I didn't actually get in until I was 18 because I had to wait for my senior year to be finished. Um, but I joined a week after 9/11. I signed the papers, um, and then I went. At the end of the school year, this was my senior year of school. Um, Now I've struggled with all kinds of things growing up. I stole things I'm not proud of. I've been through really tough situations. I've just been through a lot, and a lot of people that know me personally, they don't even know all the struggles I've been through. And that's not their fault. It's because I didn't tell them, but I hold a lot of it in, and I try to do my best. And sometimes, your best just isn't enough. Sometimes and I struggled. Um, in the Marine Corps, I did pretty well. I did get hurt my first year. I tore my labrum and ligaments in my left shoulder, and it was pretty tough. But I didn't say a thing. I didn't complain. I continued through boot camp with it. I continued through the School of Infantry with it, and that was that. Um, I ended up getting surgery about 3 or 4 months after I got out of the School of Infantry, and I landed at my duty station, which is here in Kaneohe, Hawaii, Marine Corps Kaneohe base. So it MCBH is the name. Um, and it was just tough, like there are things that I wish I could do over, um, in terms of like my health and whatnot. I should have taken better care of myself, but I didn't know any better. So I really can't really hold that against myself anymore. Um, and moving forward after, during the Marine Corps, I was on deployments all throughout Asia, Afghanistan. Been there, seen some things, done some things. Um, that's for another time. Really, I don't necessarily like to harp back on my experiences because I signed up for them, and I had to deal with them. After I got out of the Marine Corps in 2011, um, I worked at various places, the docks. Um, I worked at Apple for 4 years. But at the end of my 4 years at Apple, a lot of things happened. My all in like a week, actually in one day, actually. But it was kind of like everything happened out in 1 week. But in one day, I hurt my leg at work. My grandma called me telling me she's dying. Um, my wife tells me that um, she has Hashimoto's disease, which at the time I didn't know anything about. So it was kind of scary for me. And um, and then my, my my best friend, he had a heart attack. He was only 32. That actually didn't happen on that day, but it was that same week. And it was that same week that I started hearing things in my sleep. I started having flashbacks to all kinds of different times of my life. Uh, More importantly, the Marine Corps, and some when I was younger, but more importantly, the Marine Corps. And I for the next 6 months to a year, I struggled with suicidal like thoughts, and I went through just quite a bit. Now, thankfully, I have a good doctor. I talk to her every Wednesday morning. It hasn't changed. It still happens every day, every Wednesday for 6 years now. And I, yeah, I'm just thankful that I have the support that I have. Because otherwise, I don't know what would happen. I would never take myself away from my kids, but I did have the thoughts, and it was scary for me. The one thing I promised myself when I had children was that I would never, ever be the reason to not be in their life. And what does that mean? A lot of people ask that. That means I'm not going to do drugs and overdose and kill myself so I'm not in their life. That means I'm not going to drink alcohol and get potentially, alcohol poisoning and end my life, or get a DUI and end my life and take myself away from my kids. Not that means not cheating on my wife, being loyal. That means not doing things illegal and getting in trouble and removing myself that way. Um, you know, I promised myself that I would never do that, and I've kept it. So I have a son. He's 21. My then I have three daughters. They're 15, 12, and soon to be 5 in less than a week. And I'm blessed with, like they're all hardworking. They all want to do good in life. They all are just mentally sound. They're healthy, and I couldn't ask for more. They're just the best. And during the time where I struggled, up until maybe a couple of years ago, maybe like I was still kind of like in my own little world. I didn't want to always communicate or socialize with others, um, which is weird because if you really know me, I can talk to anybody. I'm that person that can just talk to anybody, even at the grocery store, wherever. But I didn't have, I don't know, the motivation, the ability to just like get out of my mind. Um, so last year, um, on 420 of all times, I know it's a weird day, but I had therapy that morning, and I told my doctor I didn't love myself, and that was the first time I said it out loud to somebody else because I had realized it a few days before that, and I needed to tell her that. And then that next day, I went on a big transformation, a big change. I started 75 hard, and I went through that, and I finished it. I actually failed on day 29 because I forgot to take a picture, but I kept going, so I started over. So I actually did 104 days straight, and I did pretty well. I didn't lose as much weight as I wanted to, but I also didn't have a strict diet. I just kind of set myself with the same meals every day. I just didn't have a diet to follow, which in retrospect I should have, but I didn't. I didn't eat any junk food, which you're not allowed to. I didn't eat cheat meals. I didn't do any of that. I just kept eating whole foods and healthy foods for the whole entire time, which again, I had like maybe like a nutritionist or um, you know, somebody to help me with that, then that might have been a different story. After that, I got blessed with teaming up with Aaron Williamson, which by the way, I'll link him in the description. That guy is amazing. He really helped me learn more about my body and my mind. Um, and I lost another 30 pounds with him. So I went from 290 to 230. From May, let's just say end of April to um, September. No, sorry, November, December. And since then, I've stuck around that. I'm 235 right now. I want to get down more. I still exercise. I still walk. I just did a 4-day fast. I was gonna do a 5 one, but um, had a real tough time exercising this morning. Like I started cramping up. I took electrolytes every day, but it was just ugh. Anyway, the point of it is um, in January of this year, I started meditating heavily. And after I started doing that, it was just huge for me. It changed everything for me. And I'm just like meditation is amazing. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I got his course he has on his website, and it just changed my life. On top of that, I do breathing exercises now. I meditate morning at 20 minutes, night 20 minutes, sometimes during the day. I'd like to do more during the day if I can, but my kids are out of school right now, so it's a little difficult. Um, but let me tell you why you're here. Other than the fact that I told you a little bit about my origin story, um, I want to interview people about their mindset in different businesses and their successful life. So whether that's a fitness influencer or a bodybuilder or a an affiliate marketer or somebody who's so successful in all of their other business ventures that they can tell me their mindset that they went through when they started, during the middle, and where they're at now, and how well it is, that they're able to accomplish all their goals with the mindset that they need. So if you're willing, I'd love for you to come back and be a part of this community. I want to share with everybody that I can, and I do think that with the ability to share people's mindset as opposed to just like, well, how'd you do it? Like it's great. I mean, I might ask that, how'd you do it? But I'm gonna ask more about what was your mindset, because a lot of people don't get to see that part, right? Everybody sees the successful part, but they don't see what they went through. They don't understand all the nuances that they had to deal with to get to where they got. So it's gonna be a great story. Everybody has their own story and their own personal battles, demons, and whatnot. And I'm very excited to share with you their stories, my story even more as you get to know me. I have a friend who is the other founder. His name is Sirko, Gregory Sirko, and he'll be here as well eventually. He's got some work he's doing, so in and out. But the it's just gonna be fun. It'll be a great time. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna interview amazing people, and you're just gonna get to see a side of them that you probably haven't seen before. And I'm so excited for you to see that. So um, stick around. I hope you enjoy every one of the interviews that come this way, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.